We normally see between about 30 and 40 inches of rainfall during our rainy season.
What happens when police confront an alligator in a residential community?
This year is definitely more than most years.
How you can attract hummingbirds to your garden.
They need 100% refined white table sugar.
And the buzz on invasive hornets in the Pacific Northwest.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. Nearly 50 million people are under threat of severe storms today, including a rare level 4 out of 5 risk from the Storm Prediction Center. That threat impacts parts of central Kansas, including Wichita, Topeka, and Manhattan. But as you can see, the threat today stretches more than 1,000 miles from Michigan to Texas. Those areas in red and orange are at risk of supercells producing very large hail and strong to intense tornadoes. The threat of more storms continues into tomorrow, and again in a very large area from the Canadian border in New England to the Mexican border in Texas. Cities like Dallas, Detroit, Indianapolis, Memphis are all in the risk area. Meantime, there were 25 different tornado reports yesterday from Kansas to Minnesota. This one was shot by our storm chaser, Brett Adair. It was in eastern Nebraska, about 120 miles from Iowa. He went back shortly afterwards and found this damage right here in this nearby community. Many homes are gone, reduced to piles of wood, piles of debris. Those that are still left standing suffered a lot of damage as well. Other tornadoes touched down closer to Omaha. This man saw one of them.
So I saw the funnel cloud develop right over the dock area behind my home, and then I started to hear it, and that's when I took off and headed inside. And to me, it looked like it traveled up the beach line and headed north in the neighborhood, so pretty quick.
And we are still awaiting word of possible injuries across that state. And just over the border in South Dakota, the storms destroyed this building that housed hogs. We don't have any word on what actually happened to those animals. In Sioux Falls, the storms brought heavy rain and gusty winds. There are reports of multiple damaged and destroyed buildings there as well. And strong winds rolled through Las Vegas on Sunday. Gusts up to 60 miles per hour knocked out power to many homes and also businesses. The wind also blew dust and debris, making driving challenging for some. There was a ground stop at Harry Reid International Airport where a quarter of all flights were delayed or even canceled. It's officially rainy season in South Florida. This time of year, dry conditions transition into months of afternoon thunderstorms and tropical downpours. The humidity also rises. Meteorologist Lorna Lesky tells us more.
Now, this doesn't just flip a switch and all of a sudden it starts raining endlessly for the next several months, but we're going to gradually see our rain chances increasing as we go through the next several weeks, and you're going to start to notice that. We normally see between about 30 and 40 inches of rainfall during our rainy season, and that's about 60 to 70% of our yearly rainfall. Our rainiest month is August. Now, obviously, this can vary depending on the year, especially if we have a really active tropical storm season. If we see multiple hurricanes come through or tropical systems, those will produce heavier downpours, and that's going to increase the total. We also tend to see a little bit of a lull in some of the rainfall in July. That's when most of that Saharan dust moves across the Atlantic Ocean, diminishing the chance of tropical development. It also does lower our average rainfall totals for the month of July. But like I mentioned, the rainiest month is August, where we typically see a little over 8.5 inches of rain. Coming in at close second is June with almost 8.5 inches, and then close to 8 in September. So again, rainy season May 15th through October 15th. It's a good time for this to start as well, since the drought has been so bad. So hopefully we do see some improvement as we go through the next few weeks as well.
In Washington state, it's a lack of moisture that's causing concern. The current snowpack levels have officials warning that there could be a strain on farmers going into the summer months and an increase in fire danger. Theron Zahn has more.
It was a brutal winter for the snowpack in western states, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, Washington included. That has current snowpack levels beyond bleak. Take a look at this map from NOAA that shows the percentage of typical moisture in the snowpack across the West. It's based on the median of the last 35 years. Parts of the Cascades have just 13 to 27% of the water we could expect in our snowpack this time of year. The Olympics, just 10%. It was hoped snowfall in April and May in some areas would offset the snow deficit. but that didn't happen. A dry snowpack is going to be a strain on agricultural water use this summer and will boost fire danger during the hottest months of the year. What comes next? According to the 8 to 14-day precipitation outlook from NOAA, our state can expect equal chances of the typical amount of wetness over the next 2 weeks. At the same time, government forecasters are expecting a 33 to 40% chance of above normal temperatures. Forecasters are hoping for a surge of spring rain to at least delay a spike in the fire danger. But without a healthy snowpack heading into the summer months, water supplies could be bleak in parts of our state.
And now to northern Michigan, where fire officials are using prescribed burns this spring for various beneficial reasons. Meteorologist Ethan Foreman reports.
There are a lot of reasons that agencies across the state execute controlled burns.
We can do them for wildlife habitat management, which is what this burn here was, and then we can do fuel reduction burns. We can do them for invasive species treatments, and a lot of these reasons that we burn have multiple benefits.
In order to have prescribed burns, there needs to be certain weather conditions with temperatures generally between 40 and 80 degrees, a relative humidity of 30 to 60%, wind speeds of 5 to 15 miles per hour, and clear skies.
For the Michigan DNR, when we get prescribed burns, they go through a compartment review. So everything is prescribed either by a forester or wildlife biologist, and then everyone meets together and has a meeting and says, yeah, we agree this is a good spot to burn for XYZ reasons. One of the big things we look at too is the cloud cover, and that's going to help us with our smoke. Smoke is one of our biggest concerns, and so if it's like a nice, beautiful, sunny day, our smoke's going to generally get up and out, and that's exactly what we want as fire practitioners.
Taking care of, stimulating the ground for new blueberry production, new sweet fern growth, and the deer and turkey habitat.
Meredith Bowman with Sleeping Bear Dunes says it takes planning to make a successful prescribed burn.
They have to come a day or two early. They need to make sure that the fire lines are clear. You can see here we're on a road. Well, we use these roads for fire breaks to make sure that the fire stays in the area that we want it to stay. But they have to come up, they have to look for fire hazards.
And of course, protect any wildlife in the area.
The birds might have to leave temporarily, the turkeys that are in the area might have to leave temporarily, but they come back very quickly, and we do everything we can to protect the wildlife.
A viral video showing South Carolina police officers wrestling an alligator in a neighborhood is capturing plenty of attention online. But for many people who live in the Low Country, alligator sightings are just a part of life. Emily Deanna reports.
A dramatic encounter between Mount Pleasant officers and an alligator is making the rounds online, showing just how unpredictable these reptiles can be. Officers struggling to wrangle the gator before finally getting it under control.
This year is definitely more than most years that I've lived here.
And in Park West, neighbors say seeing gators in ponds, near walking trails, and even crossing the road is fairly common this time of year.
A few weeks ago, I want to say a 7 or 8 footer just came walking right on this sidewalk through this yard.
This neighbor capturing this video just last week.
There was a group of dads kind of guiding him, just making sure he was heading towards the pond. My wife was yelling at me to get back in the house.
As the viral video continues to circulate online, Mount Pleasant responding with a statement saying, while well-meaning, we did not encourage our officer or the public to attempt to wrangle an alligator.
We need to leave nature alone.
And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll look at how AI is being used to help detect and also fight wildfires. And we'll show you the best way to attract hummingbirds to your backyard. And as we head to break, views over Lake Michnock in Rhode Island.
I'm meteorologist Ryan Munn. Let's get a look at the Northeast. We head through the day on Monday. A couple showers up towards areas in northern New England. More sunshine as you head down to the south. As we head through the afternoon and evening, it should be a very nice day for many areas. Then Tuesday, heat and humidity build across the Northeast. We are going to run the risk for some scattered showers and thunderstorms as well. And you can see that there. That continues into the day on Wednesday as well. Much warmer to the south. High temperatures running in the 80s and 90s south, 60s to the north.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Bailey. Here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region staying dry for the next couple of days. We won't see any real rainfall coming your way until we get closer to Wednesday. Just some scattered clouds, nothing more than just perhaps a very stray isolated shower out there. Now, it will be heating up. Those temperatures will be soaring. We will be hitting at least the 80s in the mountains, low to possibly middle 90s for your Monday, and that'll be the case even on Tuesday, a couple degrees even hotter. Cooler air not arriving until we get closer to Thursday.
Hi, meteorologist Jennifer Collins with a look at your southeast forecast. A mild start for the morning for most of the southeast. Temperatures in the 60s and low 70s along the Gulf Coast, and the mid to upper 70s across central and south Florida. Keep the weather pattern relatively quiet for most of the southeast. Clear skies for the Carolinas with a chance for a few pop-up showers along the sea breeze across parts of central and south Florida. A few additional clouds for the Mississippi River Valley with a chance for storms increasing heading through late Tuesday into Wednesday.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
And Oregon is preparing for a potentially dangerous wildfire season. Utility and fire agencies are turning to technology to help them detect fires faster and improve response time. Vasily Varlamos has more.
As we enter the most dangerous months for wildfires, AI is playing a growing role in how fires are detected and monitored. PGE says it now has nearly 40 AI-powered fire detection cameras across higher-risk parts of its service area. The company says the cameras are trained to distinguish between things like smoke, fog, and mist, helping fire agencies spot fire starts faster.
What this does is this speeds up the initial attack time on the fire and really getting after it quickly.
John Farmer with PGE says this technology sends fire crews and emergency managers direct alerts when possible smoke is detected. Pacific Corps says it's also using an AI camera system with 5 cameras across Oregon.
Very powerful cameras. They have a 30 times optical zoom and a 360-degree vision. So we can monitor a large area at any one time and then zoom in close to get a better idea of the fire behavior and activity.
The company also uses AI weather modeling software to track fire conditions and predict how fires could spread during high-risk events. At the state level, the Oregon Department of Forestry says it's introducing a new multi-mission aircraft this fire season with AI detection technology. The aircraft will track lightning strikes, detect heat signatures, and identify possible starts in remote areas.
We're really anticipating some decrease in detection and response times due to the new multi-mission aircraft.
And hummingbirds are out and about, and the little birds are hungry. Meteorologist Ryan Munn has more about how to properly attract and feed them at your home.
The natural habitat for these birds is across the Yucatan and Central America. As they travel north this time of year, they're in search of flowers, and if you have a feeder, it needs to be a very specific type of food.
And unlike us, they need 100% refined white table sugar. Anything else is potentially very harmful. So we use 1 part white table sugar to 4 parts water, bring it to a boil, cool it, put it out.
This sugar water provides them with the calories they need as their heart rate reaches 250 to 500 beats per minute and their wings flap 50 to 80 times per second.
So hummingbirds respond to bright colors because a flower advertises its sugar water by being bright. And most feeders have red on it. Some feeders are all red, but there needs to be some red. That's the signal for the hummingbird to check it out.
And cleaning your feeder is very important.
In Maine, we can get away with cleaning it about every 5 days this time of year, but in summer, it's every day or two. We need to refresh that sugar. And if we don't, that sugar spoils and can be very harmful to hummingbirds.
Keeping your feeder clean and full will keep the birds healthy and active.
Officials in Washington state are asking the public to be on the lookout after a live yellow-legged hornet was found on a ship. The hornets are an invasive species capable of decimating honeybee colonies. Kelly Koopmans has more.
Move aside, murder hornet.
One of them that we found out is actually a little worse.
State agriculture officials say they are now hunting a look-alike called the yellow-legged hornet.
The hornets are voracious predators of honeybees.
Agriculture inspectors found this yellow-legged hornet on April 30th. It was found alive and alone on a cargo ship at the port of Vancouver, the ship having sailed from South Korea. While it's possible the hornet flew onto the ship in Vancouver, entomologists say it could also be a single hitchhiking hornet that flew on somewhere in South Korea.
This is the first time a live one has actually been seen anywhere on the West Coast that we're aware of.
The hornet, on the right, targets honeybees, seen on the left. They're native to Southeast Asia, but it rapidly spread to Europe, causing 30% losses in honeybee hives and honey production. It was identified in Georgia in 2023 and South Carolina in 2024, where they were caught brutalizing honeybee hives.
They will capture a honeybee, chop it up a little bit, and just take back one of the body parts and feed it to their young.
Agriculture officials say while they don't believe there's an infestation, they need to act now to be sure, saying our honeybee population depends on it.
And adding a predator that can severely impact them is just not something that we can allow here in Washington.
As things get warmer, humidity can be an annoyance. Meteorologist Hannah Sheehy explains what humidity is and why it can make things feel so uncomfortable.
As we inch closer to warmer temperatures, dew point will start playing a bigger role in the forecast. This week's Climate Chronicles question comes from Bill. He understands how wind can make us feel colder in the winter, but how does humidity in the summer actually make us feel warmer? To understand why humidity makes us warmer in the summer, we first have to look at how our bodies respond to moisture in the air. Our bodies like to maintain an internal temperature of 98.6 degrees. When our body temperature rises, sweat is released from our skin to help cool us down. That sweat then evaporates, drawing heat away from the body in a process known as evaporative cooling. However, on muggy days, sweat has a harder time evaporating because there is already so much moisture in the air. Dew point measures how much moisture is in the air. The higher the dew point, the more humid and uncomfortable it feels outside. Dew points in the 50s feel comfortable, whereas dew points in the 60s feel muggy, and anything above 70 degrees feels tropical. The heat index combines that air temperature and humidity to give us an apparent temperature, or what it actually feels like outside.
And one way to beat the heat is to get out on local waterways. But in Arkansas, severe drought conditions could make that more difficult. Andrew Mobley has that story.
We've got some, historic type drought levels that are making us make some tough decisions.
For years, Remmel Dam has increased its flow rate on weekends for the peak paddling season between Memorial Day and Labor Day. But to conserve water at Lake Hamilton, Catherine, and Ouachita, which is 2.5 feet low right now, Entergy and the Army Corps of Engineers can't do that. Water has to be conserved to ensure that Entergy has enough saved for dams to generate enough power for hot summer months.
We need Lake Ouachita to refill up until about the end of June to get to its target so that during the summertime, whenever we are, very dry and needing to generate a lot of power, that we've got that resource.
The limited flow has put a hitch in plans for paddlers and especially outfitters who depend on the Ouachita River for their business.
Any business owner, they wouldn't like it because it's going to impact their revenue. A lot of the businesses around here, it's kind of slow, so
they're depending on that push. I rent out kayaks all across the whole area out here, so it's not just here, so hopefully it's not going to be a big deal with me.
The local Chamber of Commerce is concerned. Washita River Recreation is the area's main tourism draw.
Between Memorial Day and Labor Day, thousands of people come over the course of a weekend. The impact is significant. We like folks when they come and do a float, or they just come enjoy being on the river. They do that, they buy gas, they visit a few shops, but I think people will still be able to come enjoy being on the river, even if it's a little bit harder to float.
But if you must get out and kayak or paddle, there is a small chance you'd be able to do that if it rains pretty good, because then they are going to have to increase the flow from the dam. So that's your chance right after it rains. So just cross your fingers. It's supposed to come next week eventually. Listen to our weatherman, he knows.
Taking views of Snoqualmie Falls in Washington State.
Good Monday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buck-Michael. We have the potential for some scattered severe thunderstorms across the Midwest today, so make sure to be weather aware. If you get any warnings, make sure to take those serious. This will all shift its way a little bit more to the east for the day tomorrow for your Tuesday, and cooler air. Look at that, 50s and 60s for highs across the Central Plains, and that continues moving its way east by Wednesday morning and out of here, so a little drier for most of the Midwest Wednesday.
Good Monday morning, everybody. I'm meteorologist Stella Sun. A storm system will bring rain and snow showers through parts of Wyoming. Meanwhile, storm threats will continue across parts of the Midwest, wildfire danger in parts of the desert Southwest, and windy conditions through parts of Las Vegas and in Southern California. Daytime highs will be climbing back into the upper 70s for parts of San Francisco, mid to upper 60s in Spokane through Boise. Meanwhile, showery conditions and cooler temperatures in Jackson.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Well, a chilly spring has taken a toll on wildlife in Michigan. Ethan Foreman explains.
In the spring of most years, local animal rehabilitators are busy taking care of the new wildlife that may need help.
This year has been very quiet, and it was heartbreaking when I realized why I wasn't full of babies by the first week of May. And it's because it's been so cold, the weather's been so miserable, and blizzards that we had and the flooding.
And while some animals have been lost, Mother Nature has a way of recovering.
Ducks and geese and things like this are starting all over again with new nests. Other animals, just because of the cold, they delayed breeding a lot of the birds. The bunnies lost many nests because of the flooding. So they're just getting into their second litters now.
And thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great day, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.